Okay, I think now we can get started. Let me just share my screen. So, Bill has summarized it. That is pretty much what we did yesterday. And I believe right now or today you're okay, and we can look at the Python syntax basics. Now, this is something people tend to ignore when learning new languages. But if once you learn it and understand it in any language, you won't have a problem understanding it in any other language that you're going to learn. And that's why if you learn one language well, then you can even spend 1 hour just learning another language and, maybe do a quick project in it, a simple project in it, and then can just get your day or do a bigger project with it. But these are things that if we don't address them right now, then you're going to probably be having bigger problems, especially these days that people do a lot of vibe coding. So before you get into vibe coding and using AI to generate your code, you really need to understand the architecture behind some of these things. All right, so today let's look at Python syntax basics, and I hope it won't take as much time. You just want to know how do you write Python code? Because it is not the same way you write Java. It is not the same way you write JavaScript. It's different. Just like the way I say hi in English is not the same way I say hi in Kiswahili or the same way I say hi in French. They are different. So you find that one has more words or more letters or more words or something like that. So that's why also when it comes to these languages that we use to give computers instructions or write programs that give computers instructions, we also have to learn syntax for a particular language. And in fact, if you've learned a language and you've understood how maybe how the syntax is laid out, if you want to learn a new language, the most important thing to do is, if you already know how data types work, how they are declared and all that. So the only thing, if you need to learn a new language, just concentrate on like syntax, and then concentrate on understanding how they declare their variables and manage data, and that is data types, and also how they define their functions or classes. Once you have that base, you can do anything in that language, and probably that is something that can take you even 30 minutes to figure out, and you're already comfortable writing code in that language. And of course, most of this code that we write, even if you are an expert level software engineer, most of this code that we write, we do a lot of research. So if you're doing research, but you also don't understand the syntax and the base building blocks, then you're going to have a lot of problems. And even figuring out how to fix a simple bug in your code. So what we are learning today is very important, and this is something that you really need to pay attention to. So we learn print statements. You're already comfortable with this. I don't think I'm going to go through this again. Maybe I'll get one of you to print something for me, but I'm not going to go through print statements again. Comments. And let me just explain this really quick. Normally, there are people who take life too serious, so they keep some short notes for themselves. I don't know if there are people here who are too serious with what they do, and they keep short notes on what they want to do on each particular day. Do we have such people? Kuna mtu hapa kuna zile mastika ameweka kwa wall zinaitwa aje? How do you call this? Like a whole roadmap in some whiteboard. Highlighted what they're doing on Monday, Tuesday, blah, blah, blah. Do we have such people here? Or have you ever done something like that before? Just give me a thumbs up. Hey, hii ni tabia ya Bill. Nani mwingine? Peter, sasa wewe pia. Sawa tu. I'm the lazy one here because I never do that. I don't know.
Mine is thumbs down.
Maybe I normally wake up and whatever goes. I mean, I don't feel like doing this today, so I'm not doing it. but it's a bad way to live your life. At least you should have things in order. You know what you're doing today, and I think that's having things planned is better. So when you talk about comments in programming languages, it's very important that you document your code, and the way you document your code is by writing proper comments, so that even a new person who comes, it's like a sticker that you leave on your doorstep, giving particular instructions on what somebody should do, or maybe if you have a cleaner who comes early to clean the office, they already know that today this is what you want, this is the type of coffee you want, maybe whether it is white or black coffee, blah, blah. So they know that on Wednesday, this guy takes this and this. But it's not like the sticky notes that you leave there is the actual task. No, they just tell you about the actual task that you're supposed to do. It's like they are guides. So that is how important comments are in programming languages, whichever language. So in Python, you're going to use hashtag for single line comments. For multi-line comments, you're going to use 3 quotes, 3 double quotes, or 3 single quotes. And we'll see that. And then running scripts, that is how do you run a Python file. That is what you're calling Python script. Then the most important rule when it comes to Python is indentation. And this is what disturbs most people. People are used to opening curly braces, closing curly braces. That is a code block. But in Python, it is something else. It is indentation. And we are going to see how that works. And then we have input and output. Probably, if you're going to write instructions to a computer, then there has to be input that is coming from the user or you. And then there has to be output which comes from now the computer. Yes, Bill?
I think we can see your screen.
All right. I didn't even realize that I wasn't sharing. Let me know if you're able to see my screen. Hey, nyinyi wote mlikuwa wagiza na msemi. So actually, I'm still on this page. What we learned today. So I've talked about print statements, comments. I've talked about running scripts. That is, how do you run a Python file? And the most important rule in Python is indentation. I've talked about that, but we're going to see it. And then input and output. You give computer something and you expect an output. And then fixing common errors like a pro. After we do this, don't lie to yourself that you are pro in Python, please. We will get there. So let's get started. Print statements, talking to the computer. So assume you have a friend there, you're talking to your friend and you're telling them hi. And what do you expect? You expect them to either say hi back or, whatever. But you expect them to say something. So the same way you can give a computer an instruction that I want you to print this, and then they print using the print function, they're able to display that out. And one thing I want you to note is that anything that is text related that you want to print should appear within quotes. Sawa sawa. Now let me get one person really quick to just do a print statement. Print something like 5 plus 7 equals to 5 plus 7 equals to what? Haya, one volunteer, mbio mbio. Share your screen. You have 1 minute to share your screen and do this. A simple print statement that says 5 plus 7 equals to, I don't know the answer, but the answer the computer should know and return the answer. We're sharing. It's not like you're doing it alone. I'm here, back up. Remember, what I want to see is this. 5 plus 7 equals to, that is what I want to see. And the answer of that 5 plus 7 equals 2, and the answer to that. Printed. I want it printed. So it should be within a print statement. So the first part is text, 5 plus 1 equals 2, should be within quotes, and then the answer, 5 plus 1. So there's a comma somewhere. Start with the first section is quotes, open quotes, and then write 5 plus 1 equals 2, plus 7. Sorry, plus 7. Wacha kunikopi kila kitu. Equals 2, and then outside that quote, put a comma. Good. Now, what this means is that in your print statement, you can print more than one thing. So long as you separate them with commas, they will be printed out. It could even print like 5 items there. So you can run that code really quick, not using that button. Use Python and the name of the file. Tunakuwa nerds. So to run a Python file, you start with the keyword Python and then the name of the file that you want to run. And there we go. So your Python is not detected. So kwambia command not found. Okay, try to run it using that button. So I want to just see what happens. Okay. So you can see we have 5 plus 7 equals to 12. So that is simple printing. Give a computer what you want it to display. So you see this first section appears within quotes. So it will be printed that way. 5 plus 7 equals to. Including that space. I hope you can see that space between equal sign and 12. But now 5 plus 7 equals to 12. It is adding them. Why? We'll understand this later because we are going to learn about data types and variables today. All right, stop sharing and then we can proceed. It was early.
Yeah. So I was asking if you write anything in quotes, even if it's numbers, it will just print the numbers that you have written. But if you write without quotes, like 5 plus 7 without quotes, it will add them.
Yes, and we are going to learn that in a few when we learn about variables and data types. Are we good?
Yes.
All right. So I've said print statement is like talking to a computer and getting your answer back, or it gets to reply to you. And we've talked about comments and how do you write a comment? So I'm going to open today. So I'm going to be using this. So today, let's do something different. To copy Jamil. Okay, so let me just open that in VS Code. So we've done this where you just give a computer anything. So I can just say print. Can say print. Do I want to print? So I could print something like this. What the hell is going on? So I could print something like this. So you just want to print that, and then /n means new line. And then I want to say welcome to Python programming. And then I want to do that. And then I can say also enjoy your coding, blah, 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 and then complete with that. So I can run this direct. And I'll see what it prints. Welcome to Python programming. enjoy your coding journey. So let's say I don't want this. Maybe I can increase this a bit. All right, something like that. So you can say, welcome to Python programming, enjoy your coding journey. Now, what happens here is nikianza hapa, there is no, it starts on a new line. And then at the end of this, I put a new line. So it moves to the next line down. And then it starts printing, welcome to Python programming. At the end of it, it puts a new line. So this equal sign starts on a new line. And then I put another new line. So that goes to the next line. And then enjoy your coding journey. And then another line. So that line you're seeing, you're empty hapo chini. So that is just printing. Whatever you give your computer, that is what you get printed. So I think I'm done with that. So let's explore how comments work. So let's start with explaining what a print statement is. So comments. Now in Python, single line comments are given in hashtags. So Python comments. So that is like giving a sticker or a note, just trying to explain. So I can do something like these are simple Python program to print a message. So that is a comment. So somebody who is looking at this will know that print in Python is used to just display a message to the users. So, and then we can have multiple line comment where I said you can do something like that. So those are three. So they can be, so this multi-line comment, and I can just continue writing, and I can actually explain what I'm going to do here, like something like that. So this is multi-line comment. Once I have this in between, I can just write comments, and these comments will be ignored. So you can see if I run this code again, so let's run this code again. And when I run it again, you can see it's printing the first print up here, which is hello world, and then followed by welcome to Python programming, enjoy your coding journey. So probably it is ignoring this because these are just like stickers that are guiding you on the task to do. They are not part of the task. I hope you're okay there on comments. So you've seen single line comments, and you've also seen multi-line comments. We talked about the extension with which you save the Python file, which is .py, and I hope by today everybody understands why we save each file by the extension .py. Somebody give me a quick explanation about this. Why do we save Python extensions with the .py extension? I mean Python files. A quick answer tukisonga. Leo nataka kumaliza class mapema. We have 30 minutes remaining. This is something that you guys should know. I explained it in depth, why we need file extensions and why they're important. We have .docs, we have .ppt, we have .pdf, we have .py, we have .txt, we have .csv. Why? Yes, Yegon. Why do you save Python files with the extension .py? Jingisha. Jina inakaa Lingala. Do you want to give it a try? Now, this is discouraging. Hata kwa mtu anafunza. Yes, Faith?
so that the file and provide the properties needed to to keep it running.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know, you're breaking. Maybe you can repeat that.
So that the computer will know it is a and provide the necessary conditions to run it as it should.
Yeah, so we said that, okay, Peter, you want to add something? Thank you, Faith. That is the big, that is like giving you 70% of what I expect as the answer, what Faith has just said. Peter, do you want to add anything? You are there. Wait, am I audible?
Kuna Peter wawili?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Do you want to add anything?
For I said yesterday that is to enable the computer to know which file it's running.
Okay. Nimepewa half. So let me meet you guys in the middle because you decided to meet me in the middle too. So yes, it's for a computer to identify which file it is running, but that is one part of it. But the main reason why we save files with the right extensions. Do you remember why you installed Python runtime? And that is why you are not even able to. Why didn't I tell you just come with your computer, fungua a Word document, make some print statements there, and then it will run. Did I tell you something like that? No. Did I tell you come with a text a code editor or a text editor? Then I told you that first of all, you have to install Python 3.12, right? Why were we doing that? And then install VS Code as the code editor. So the reason is, if you save a file with the right extension, it will allow your operating system, not just Windows, to load the right program to interpret and process the file. That's just like what Faith was trying to say. So when we're talking about this, when you're talking about save your file, and we say maybe day2.py, something like that, we are probably talking about what we had already discussed, the right extension of for Python files, which is .py, and now you understand. All right. So we summarize this all by saying a Python script is like writing instructions for a robot and saving them in a notebook. So later on, you can apply them and the robot can do whatever you want. Now, the most important part, which you need to pay attention to, and this we'll just have to do a lot of practice. And please just pay close attention to this because hapa ndo nitaweka na kuandika code mingi and live coding mbele ya watu. Utafikiria yawa hii kitu si nichukue tu niweke kwa ChatGPT ama Gemini ilitolee hizi vitu zote, but we won't allow you to do that. First of all, learn it the hard way, and then you'll be comfortable using vibe coding or using AI to just generate your code. I won't have a problem with you. I just need you to understand what you're doing first before AI does things and breaks things in production, and now you can't even fix it. So let's take it to real life, right? Like what I'm trying to give here. You can see in this picture, there's a number of people, who are standing, but others are sitting down. The reason why the other people are sitting down is because of the question that has been asked. Does that question apply to everybody or a group of people? So if it applies to a group of people, that means the way we're going to structure this out is that only the group that is touched by that particular question that is asked, those are the people we expect reaction from. So you can see there are a number of people who are standing, but there are a number of people who are sitting down. So let's say, like, if I could say, who likes fish? Yeah, maybe give me a thumbs up. I don't expect everybody, but if you like fish, maybe give me a thumbs up. Ama nipewe star, ama nipewe maflowers zangu. Sawa, wacha niseme nani anapenda omena? Anipe flowers zangu mapema. Yaani Faith, wewe unapenda kila kitu. Who likes omena here? I'm one of the omena ambassadors. So this question only applies to one person, surely. Okay. Who likes pizza? Yeah. Nani anapenda nyama hapa? Let me see the kind of responses I'm going to get. Sasa hapa tumepata Yeron, hapa tumepata Pita, hii Mutuku. Sasa hii huyu jamaa anaitwa Hamisi anapenda nini? I'm thinking nimesha exhaust all the foods that I know. Na huyu jamaa bado hata hakuna kitu anapenda hapa.
Nakula tu everything.
Hey. Hey. Hawa ndo wale watu wanaitwa wacha tu nyamaze tuendelee. Kila kitu. Hakuna kitu nakupea shida. Hata tukichukua nyama ya binadamu tutengeneze vizuri unapita.
Sina preference. Bora tu imepikwa vizuri.
Haya, sawa. So that is how, let's bring this to programming. So we want to apply this to indentation. Very important in Python. Now, this is a practical session. So I'm just going to create day 2, 3 combined, day 2, 3.py. So when you're creating your Python files, best practices when creating Python files, also you need to note this down. When naming your Python files. So one is, oh, I'm doing that within, what I was in Markdown. So one is, already you're seeing that, and then we have 2, and then we have 3. So use lowercase letters. We call this the Python case. So in Python, if you're writing Python code and you wanted to create a variable called maybe, or a Python name, maybe called user authentication, you do user_auth .py, something like that. So that is best practices when naming your Python files. You don't see an hyphen anywhere with that file or something like that. And then you don't see me starting with a letter, a number at the beginning of a Python file. So don't start with a number. You can start with an underscore, that's okay. But don't start with a number or hyphen or a special character. No. So what has been listed here, use underscores to separate words, and then try to be descriptive. This means hello.py should show you what the content of the file is, because the file is talking about printing hello world. So if I say user auth, this one should ring a bell in your head that we are talking about user authentication. So the files should be descriptive. The same applies to when you are naming or declaring your variables. Don't start with a number. Don't start with a special character. You can start with the underscore, that is allowed. But you can't start with hashtag, something like that. Don't. And then make sure your variable name is descriptive. It actually talks about what the variable does or holds. So that is one. So moving on, let's try to now understand the Python syntax, right? So let's do something like this. So there's this guy called who? Jina inaga Lingala, wacha nimuite Jose. So we have Jose. So Jose likes everything or eats everything. Have something like that. So that is a variable, but we are going to talk about variables in a few. So that is a variable that I've created, and it stores this text called the content is it's everything. So, or I could just say, let me just say day. Let me talk about day. So day is today is Wednesday, right? Today is Wednesday. So I can say something like this. I'm creating an if statement, and remember I told you that with Python, as long as your English is good, you're good to go with Python. Python is like writing English or giving computers instructions in English. So I can say my variable is day. So now if I say day equals to Monday, something like that. Today is Monday, the start of, or something like that. The start of the work week, or the start of Python variables and data types, something like that. So what we're doing here, you've seen me indenting. So you're asking a question. What is the day today? So if the day today is Monday, then what are we going to do? We are going to print this statement. So remember, that statement is only going to be printed when this condition is true. So that means this print statement should be indented to be inside that if block. So the if block starts here and ends here. So that is how you terminate your if statements in Python. So all of this is where the condition lies, where you're checking that condition. So when you see a full colon, that means that is like just the same way you could ask, what is your name? That is the end of my statement, right? Or how would you know, if you understand what I'm saying, how do you know that now I'm expecting you to give me an input, or that is the end of a sentence? Normally you'll see a full stop, even in English, right? Tuko pamoja? So in Python, how would you know that this person, whichever condition he was checking, that is the end of it, and now what follows is the content, or what should happen if that condition is met? That is the full colon that you're seeing here. So it starts here where we say if day equals to Monday, then display this. So whatever you're going to do, if the condition resolves to true, you should be indented inside that if block. And if I put it outside, you see I get an error. If it starts at the same level with the if statement, I get an error. Why? Because you're not going to ask a question if it is meaningless, if it has no, unless you're asking rhetorical questions which don't apply to computers. Computers don't understand humor or rhetorical questions. They understand direct instructions, and they expect to give you what? Output. So the reason why you're getting an error is because this is an if block which checks a condition, and it should have something to return, or a body within it when it resolves to true. So that is why I need to push this print statement inside the if statement. So it belongs to that if statement. Do you understand what is going on here? So I want you to understand indentation. If you don't understand it, utakuwa na mashida huko mbele. Tunaelewa what is going on here? Nani ameelewa? Give me a thumbs up. Peter umeelewa, Faith ameelewa, mti ya kukula kila kitu. Peter na hii pia. Good. Lakini sasa nitakuchagua ufanye kitu. Haya. Okay. So that is why we are saying indentation is important. Then if I do a print statement here, huku sasa, remember now this print statement, if you look at the level, it is the same level with where this if statement is starting. So what does that mean? Does that what is the difference between this print statement, the last print statement, and the second print statement? What is the difference if you understood indentation? And if I change this to, oh, this is Monday. What do you think this is going to be printed on my terminal? If you understand indentation, because if you do understand indentation, you'll know what will be printed and what will not be printed, or I don't know, what will depend on the value that we find here in the if statement to be printed. Remember, our day is initialized to be Wednesday. So we are just comparing if that day is really Wednesday. So what I'm giving here should be the same as what is stored in day, which is Wednesday. And then if it resolves to true, then this code block is going to be executed. That means printing this content. But I also have a print statement here at line 10. Can somebody tell me the difference between the print statement in line 10 and the print statement in line 9? Somebody give it a try. Sema Peter, sema rakaraka tukisonga.
So I think that the print statement for hello world will just print the exactly what you've told it to. But for the day is equals to Wednesday, it depends if the day matches exactly the one that you've provided. So the indentation differentiates the two, since the indentation uses if, but the other one is just a print statement.
Exactly. The way you're putting it is, do I really need to explain again? Exactly. So you see, the print statement here on line 10 is independent. It does not depend on any condition to resolve to true. It does not depend on any other question to be true for it to be executed. And executed here means it will be printed out. But the print statement, the print statement on line 9 will depend on whether the day is really Wednesday. So what will be printed out, Peter, in my terminal? According to what you're seeing here, what will be printed out?
False, because the day is not Monday, it's Wednesday.
Remember, I want you to understand something. The only function that shows you anything in the terminal is the print statement. And print statement will output what you give it, not what you think. So what do you think? Yes. So don't you think? No. By seeing, need it printed out?
Hello world.
Hello world.
Because the other one won't be printed, it's false.
Exactly. It resolves to false. So whatever output we put within the print statement, that will not be executed.
Yes.
Yuko mtu mwingine anapinga Peter? Any different opinion? Do we understand what Peter is saying? Nipe your thumbs up. Hamisi, Hamisi is okay. Anybody, if you don't understand, this is the time, because if you don't understand indentation, kwisha wewe. Nani haelewi? Itashaelewa. Hiyo ni take, hata sirudi. By the time we get to variables, atakuwa na flow. By the time we get to control flow, sasa you'll be even better, because we'll be doing the same thing that I'm doing here. Nani haelewi ni muexplainia tena kama mtoto mdogo? Sema tu, inua mkono kama uelewi, na niambie exactly. Like if you tell me, if you communicate, it would be easier to help. I know exactly penye kiatu inakufinya. Alafu niende nikununulie kubwa ama nitoboe hapo. Nani haelewi? Haya, nani anaelewa nipe thumbs up? Nimeona. Okay. Now, I want us to do something else. And I want, I'm going to give somebody to do it so that we just understand that we'd rather spend more time in trying to understand the syntax rather than going fast and we don't understand that syntax. But you guys you can add me like 20 minutes to go through at least introduce data types and variables. But I want us to understand this. So who can volunteer really quick? Just share your screen. Stop sharing. And then I'm going to show you what to do. And you're going to use the right indentation. Peter, can you share really quick? Peter, can you share? If you can't share, just let me know so that we move to the next person.
I can share.
Okay.
I will see my screen.
Now I want you to do this, Peter. So I want you to declare a variable called, let's say, declare variable 1. So declare a variable called a. Just say a equals to 5. On the next line, you can create another file there called day 3. You know, so do it in day 3.
Just add it here.
Yeah. Call it day 3. .py.
Okay. So I should declare a variable.
I don't know whether you've saved that file because bado haikai Python file. Save. Yeah, just save it as a Python file.
I have set by .py.
Bado inasema untitled.
You cannot save.
Just delete it and just create again. Don't save. So hapa kuja hapa penye readme iko and right click. Hapa readme right click. And chini ya readme.
Hapo hivyo.
New file. Call it day3.py. Yeah, enter. Now that should work. You're creating it in open editors. Which was okay. So say a equals to 5. B equals to 6. Sawa. I don't want you to confuse people. So you go to the next line and say B equals to 6. Go to the next line.
B equals to 6. Yes.
Okay. On your next line, I want you to check if A is greater than B, then print A is greater than B. Greater than signs unajua? So check if A is greater. You check if A is greater than. No, there are no brackets. Python is as simple as what we are talking about. So that's why I said if you know English, you are good to go. If A is greater than B, then that is the end of my question. So what should you do? How do you show that that is the end of the if statement? Exactly. Now press enter. VS Code will automatically indent for you. So when I mean indent, it knows that you should expect to execute something if that condition is true. Now I want you to just print if A is greater than B, just print A is greater than B. Now in plain English, A is greater than B.
Print?
Just print. Yeah, in plain English, A is greater than B. You're printing the answer. We're already checking if A is greater than B. So now you're just printing A is greater than B.
Oh. That way.
English bwana.
No brackets.
How does a print statement work? How does a print statement work? How do you print something? That is what I'm asking you to do. Just print A is greater than B. Bracket.
Okay.
Then whatever you want to print. Remember, this is now plain English text. How do you print text?
Okay. Sorry. A is greater than B. Yes.
Just like that. Lakini hiyo ni kizungu kweli. Mimi sijui hiyo kitu umeweka, ni kama unanipiga elbow.
So niandike quote.
Just say, see, yeah, what I'm saying is simple. It's plain English. A is greater than B.
Okay.
Just like that. Now, I want somebody to volunteer to tell me what the answer is going to be. Tell Peter what the answer is going to be. What is going to be printed in the terminal? Akiamua kurani kitu. Nani atanipea jibu?
I think it will not output any answer because the statement is false. That's my take.
Any other person? Nataka kuangusha mtu hapa. Faith, what do you say? Well, kuja kwa terminal nikuonyeshe what to do. Faith, what do you say? Kuja kwa terminal. Click on the terminal and then write exit. Exit with brackets. Exit, then brackets. Opening bracket, closing bracket. Enter. Sawa. Now you can do CLS. Good. Faith, what do you say?
A is greater than B.
What is A?
A is 3.
Hey. Specs. What is the value of A?
Sioni vizuri, natumia simu. A is 5. Sioni. A is 5.
Laptop imefanya nini? B?
B is 6.
So, if statement, will it be true or false?
Oh, it will be false.
So, what will be printed on the terminal?
False. Okay.
Nilikuwa nataka kutusi lakini nikanyamaza. Remember we said you will only see what is within a print set. That is the only thing that is how Python will output anything for you to see. So whatever is in the if whatever is in the print statement is blocked, will you really see anything? Tuanga hii maneno kwa terminal tuone kenye inatoa. Run the day 3.py. Bado ido mingi sasa dot ni ya nini? But really, you've seen nothing is printed. Why? Because now you guys are masters of indentation in Python. You already see if it resolves to this, to false, then that print statement that belongs to that if block cannot be executed. It's like asking a question, asking me maybe if you could tag along, and I'm telling you, no way, you can't. Will you really tag along? You won't. Stop sharing. Okay, so now I think with that, so that's what I'm having here. These people who are standing and the people who are not standing. So the question was, everyone who plays football, stand up. I know everybody here likes football, except me. I don't know, but I don't like football. Spend the pressure. So you can see these people who like football are standing, but there are people who don't like football here who are sitting down. So the first indentation is wrong because if true, remember if true will always resolve to true because you're saying true. I mean, there's nothing to check. We're checking if it is true and we're already providing true. And you say, if you, as long as you're asking a question, if that is like asking a question, there has to be a content for it, something that you should be displayed. If not, I'll show you what to put inside that if block. There's something called pass, but we'll get to that. So this indentation is wrong because it will give you some error there. We expect something inside the if block. But if I had this is correct, and then I have another second print statement which starts here, that would be, I think that would now be correct because we already have something in the if block. Now we have input and output. So, so these ones are simple, and we will be doing them as in every other part that we will be tackling. So just allow me to introduce. I think input and output is what you give to the computer, and output is what you see. Like normally, you supply text to a print statement, that is your input, and you get an output. But you can also collect real input from user. And let me do that really quick. So I can say collect full name. So I can say I declare a variable called full name. And then instead of giving predefined values, I can allow user to enter their full name. So I use input, and the input function allows users in Python to enter something or give computer some real data. So if I say full name equals to input, enter your full name. Now enter your full name, what are the text content that I'm giving inside the input function is a directive to be printed to the user. Show the user that they should enter their full name here. Once the full name is entered, it will be stored in the full name variable, and then I can print it out. And this is now a formatted string that we will look at later on, how do you create a formatted string. And it's going to say hello, whichever name I provide here, and then it's going to print it out. So let me just run that. So you can see I have this, and the cursor is here. And it's asking me to enter my full name, which I'm going to just say gibberish. Gibberish Omolo. And then you can see, hello, Gibberish Omolo, welcome to Python programming. Fun, right? Would you like to do that? Let's proceed. So I want you to do this for me. This is your exercise. Please just write it down somewhere. Mini exercise greeting program. Write a code that is able to take the user's input, or you ask user their name, how they're feeling, and then responds back and says goodbye. Can you do a program like that? I'll be checking tomorrow. Any question on this, taking user input? We'll explore more about taking user input, so don't even worry about it. But do you have a question on this? Okay, you guys are good. So let me move to at least introduce you to something that we are supposed to do today. That is variables and data types. Mumeandika assignment. A program that asks user to enter their full name and how they are feeling, and then it's going to print that and say goodbye. So it will be like, hello, blah, blah, blah. Feeling like blah, 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 goodbye. So we have variables and data types, and I really just want to explain this in a simple term. So in my image here, you are seeing different types of bottles, containers, you can boxes, whatever, you can call them containers. So we start with the first one, which is variables. So a variable is a data container, and data types, that is the type of data that you're going to store in this container. And operators, I think of them like tools. So let's say you wanted to cook a meal, and you have your variables, which are your containers. Ukona ile container imebeba oil, you call it cooking oil, right? And then the data that is contained in there is cooking oil. So that makes that the data that you store in a container somehow dictates the name of that container. So I would call it cooking oil container or something like that. And that tells me what it contains. If it is container that holds water, it would be like a water container or a water bottle. And what is the content? Water. So that means the type of content that is held within a container may somehow define the name of that particular container. So that is how the data types work. And then we have operators. So I want to cook a meal. So I'll need water, right? I want to cook tea, something really quick. I want to cook tea. So I'll need water. I need a sufuria. I'll need a source of heat. And I'll need maybe milk and majani na sukari, sindio? So I have my operators here where I can decide that I'm going to mix water and milk, and that is a type of operation that I'm doing between water and milk. I can also say that I want to apply some source of heat, so I'm multiplying that source of heat like una adjust kidogo ikue like mingi, something like that. So think of operators like tools that you use. So let me say in simple terms that when I talk about variables, picture container. When I talk about data types, think about what we store inside containers, the different types of items we store inside a container. And when I talk about operators, think about tasks or tools that you can use to manipulate the data that you have within these containers. So let's discuss variables. So you can see my different containers in the picture here. We have this container stores documents or maybe data to do with height. This container stores data to do with age, and these are the ones also store their own data. So we have age, and we have name, and we have height. So age is 12. So probably what I'm saying here is picture age as a container. Now, if you open that container, it stores 12 as the value. And which data type is 12? Can somebody tell me that? 12. I can have 12.5 and I have 12. What is the difference between the two? If you know that, you'll be able to know the data type.
12 is a complete number, while 12.5 is a decimal.
Amazing. You already given us the data types that we are looking for. Now, whole numbers in programming languages are called integers. Tuko pamoja? So that is the data type. If I talk about data types, you're going to give me integers. That is one. Now, 12.5, which you've just mentioned as decimal, the data type is decimal in other languages, but in Python, it is float. Why do we say float? It's a floating point. Kuna kitu ina hang, sindio? Kuna kitu ina float mahali, sindio Hamisi? 12.5 si kuna kitu ina float mahali?
Yes.
Iko kitu imehang vibaya hapo. So that's why we are calling them floating point numbers, and we call them float. So that is a data type. So I can have 12.56, blah, 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 blah. Then the more the number of decimals, the more we get the difference. So we have different types of floating point numbers. If I say 12.5, that is one decimal point. That becomes a decimal number. If I say 12.57666 hivyo ile inakaa infinity, that becomes a floating point number. If the number of decimals are many, then we call it float. If the number of decimals are at least manageable, then we call it decimal numbers. So in floating point numbers, the general name for numbers which are not complete or fractional numbers, the data type is either decimal or float, and you'll be able to tell them apart based on the number of decimal places. Sawa. So you are completely right. Any other data type that anybody knows that we've used before? And we've used it here several times. What is the data type for James? Name equals to James. What is that data type? Not what jaribu. Jaribu tu. String. Wow, you guys are amazing. String, yes, that is string. Remember, I said anything that is text. The data type is string. And if you're talking about string, string is a group of characters put together. And a character can be ABC254. A character can be Kenya254. A character can be maybe FE0120. So long as they are a group of characters, zenye zimeshikana, a group of words that forms string. And what did we say about string data types? If you're printing a string within a print statement, it has to be within quotes. If you are assigning a string value to a variable, it has to be within quotes. So nikisema hello world, that string should be in quotes. And I want to store it in a container called greeting. So the name of the container probably identifies with the data type it is holding. Si tuko pamoja hapo? Kama unanielewa, give me thumbs up. Mbio mbio, ama nipe flowers zangu bwana. Masaa ni mbaya. Good. Good, good. So we already understand that we have 12 as integer, name as string, height, which is 1.5, as decimal. The number of decimal places are manageable, or at least they are readable. They are not like infinite. So we have, that is decimal. If it was like 5454545, we don't know where it's going to end, which would be float. Okay, so those are the most common data types that we have. So we were talking about variables, and at the same time we were talking about containers that hold things and the things that they hold. So we've talked about data types at the same time. But the container, if I ask you to identify the container here, the container will be age. When I identify the container here, it will be James. So meaning kama hii container ingekuwa physical box, nikifungua ndani nitapata nini? James. Same with height. That is a container. So if you hear me telling you declare a variable, I'm just telling you give a container name and store some data type in that container. So if I say declare a variable and assign 10 to it, so you could have probably say a or integer a or num1 or whatever, and assign a value to it. Now we have data types. What goes inside the container? So we have different data types here. As you can see, we have numbers, and numbers are what we are calling, numbers can either be float, decimal, or integers, depending on whether it is whole numbers or fractional numbers. And then we have Boolean. Now, Boolean is, there are only two values. It's either a true or a false. True, when it comes to computers, in bits, it transforms to binary value 1. And false translates to binary value 0. So we have strings, anything that is text. It can either be within single quotes or double quotes. So we have name, Amina, and school, Sunrise Academy. Now, I want somebody to tell me, between school and Sunrise Academy, which is the data and which is the container? Just unmute, niambie. Hapa penye nime highlight, between school and Sunrise Academy, which is the data and which is the container? Napa kwa nimepata jibu. I've been singing this. Somebody, between school equals to Sunrise Academy, what is the data and what is the variable? In short, what is the container and what is the data type? Peter?
The container is school. The data type is the ones in quotes.
Sunrise
Academy.
Thank you. So I can see you guys understand. Now, let's go to collections. So bigger containers. You see, you have a container. Kuna watu wanasemanga hii unga ya duka haiwatoshi. Kuna mluya hapa kweli. Sasa watu kama hawa wanaenda wanachukua wimbi, wanachukua muhogo, wanachukua mahindi, wanaweka kwa kitu moja, wanaenda wanasiaga. At the end of the day, they have a mixture of some unga, and ukipika ugali, hiyo ugali inakuangalia kama macho ya mtu ametoka construction site, ukiweka kwa sahani. So that is a bigger collection. Umeweka unga pamoja, umeweka wimbi pamoja na muhogo na mahindi. It's a mixture within a container. So one container is not limited to holding one particular data type. Now this container now holds several data types. So that brings us to collections as data types. So when we have different types of collections. Unajua, huwezi chukua wheat, ile unga ya ngano, ukaweka pamoja na wimbi, ukaweka pamoja na muhogo na mahindi, na uende usiage. Utakaa mwenda wazimu, whatever the product of that will be, utakaa mwenda wazimu. So that's why we have different types of collections. You only mix things that can mix. Simulanielewa lakini. So you can have a list, and a list can contain any data type, whether it is string, whether it is integer, whether it is Boolean, whether it is decimal, or whether it is a list inside a list, or whether it is a dictionary inside a list. It doesn't matter. It can contain any data type. And then we have coordinates, and the right word is not coordinates, but tuple. So we can say, I want to define coordinates between 2 points. So a tuple allows you to define maybe coordinates within a map or something like that. So that is a special type of collection. And tuples, once defined, cannot be changed, but at least you can always change it. Now, in good English or good engineer English, we say data type that can be changed or its content can be changed. We say that data type is mutable. A data type that its content cannot be changed like a tuple is called immutable data type or immutable collections. Now you have some good engineer English, so that if one day you commit some cybercrime or you hack somebody's phone and you're taken to court, the language, the type of English you will be pouring there, these people will be like wondering, what is this guy saying this? So they have to bring in another techie to just try to translate to the lawyers and to the judges what you're trying to say. And that is why they introduced this thing we call cyber law, cyber whatever, because initially, before the cyber law was introduced, you find somebody has hacked into a bank and they withdrawn some huge sum of money, and at the end of the day, they win the case because the judge and the lawyer does not understand the language they are speaking. Unakuja huko unasema vitu kubwa kubwa kama authenticate, authorize, and they're like, hey, what is this guy saying? Okay, and then we go to set unique numbers. So if you have your data that is dirty, so we are ending this in the next 7 minutes. Msianze kuiona hivyo venye mmeanza kuniangalia. I'm ending this in the next 7 minutes. Msijali, I know. So if you have data that is dirty that you need to clean, then set is your best data type to use. Pass any data type through that, then it will give you only unique values. So as the name suggests, a set will only give you unique values, no duplicates. And then tuko na hii group ya kindergarten ya A for apple, L for lumen, and M for or L for Lake Victoria. I don't know. But anyway, that group of this data type will make you sing like a kindergarten kid because it stores key value pairs. Ni kama nikisema Z for zebra, then in a dictionary, in a physical dictionary, where do I start looking from? The front or the back? Ngoja nisikie wenzangu wenye wako hapa. Nikisema Z for zebra, if you have a physical dictionary, unaanza kutafuta hiyo word from where? if you want the meaning of zebra? Mbele ama nyuma? Ukinipea jibu, you already understand how dictionaries work, because I just want you to understand how dictionaries work. I have A for apple, Z for zebra. Nikisema A for apple, where do you start? Ukifungua hiyo dictionary yako, unaanza kufungua kutafuta hiyo word from huku mbele ama nyuma, if you're looking for apple. And if you're looking for zebra, yes?
Unaanzia mbele if you're looking for A, and unafungua nyuma if you're looking for Z.
So dictionaries were designed to be fast in terms of processing and retrieving content. And the reason why they are fast is because of that. Remember what you just explained, that is how the computer is also going to work when it is looking for key value pairs. For example, I have like what I have here. I have name, Amina, age, 12, class, 7A. Now, if I wanted to look for a student called Amina and the student belongs to class 7A, I am not concerned with the age for the time being. Then I will look for the key name, and that will give me all student names. And then I can filter what? I can filter out Amina. And then because I want to narrow down to class 7A, then I'm going to look for the key class and then now narrow down to 7A. So you get what I'm saying? Class, the value is 7A. So this is the key and this is the value. So the key to finding 7A is, first of all, you need to know that you're looking for a class. That is the key. The key to getting the age of this particular student or the students, you need to know, first of all, what you're looking for, which is the key is age. And then now you'll know that age, the value that is stored in age is now 12. And if you filter with the right content, then you're probably going to narrow down to this student. That is why dictionaries are also important, especially when you'll be building real-world applications. All these data types that you're seeing here, collections, will be very important. All right, so I want to stop there. Tomorrow we'll be doing operators, but remember we've not written any code here. I was just doing theory, so that you understand. So tomorrow we'll be writing some code, and we will look into the different types of operators like arithmetic, comparison, logical. There are these ones which are also called assignment, inclusion. There's so many. We'll look at them. And then we look at conversion, and then we look at string formatting. The reason why nilikuwa nimeweka f hapa alafu nikakuja nikaweka vitu mingi huko unashangaa hiyo ni nini. And then you'll have your mini exercise, create a simple calculator. So I hope I'll see you in our next class tomorrow. So let me just stop recording this.